Alright, there we are, my friends. This is Niclas Huschenbeth and welcome to the question and answer session. Hello everybody. Yes, we are live. What's going on? What is happening, guys? Awesome. So we're just going to wait for a few more moments for everybody to join. And then we're going to start. And I have a few questions to cover, and I will take them from the YouTube video I put out, important announcements, and I will also take them from the chat. So you can ask questions in the chat. This will go about 1 hour. And by the way, I apologize for pushing it back half an hour. It was originally planned for 7 p.m. but then I realized I had a workout at 7. So I had to reschedule. I mean, I love you guys, but you know, my workout comes first. All right, so let's wait a few more moments and then I'll first get to the one question I got from one of my supporters, one of my patrons. Actually, I didn't get many questions from them. So we can mostly cover the questions from the video and from the chat. And there's a question I can answer. Stream is starting soon? Yes, it is already live, my friend. All right, let's get started. Yes, Harshal Patil says, let's get started. Let's do it. So the one question I got from one of my patrons was, so this question is by Carlos Santos, by the way, and he's a great supporter of mine on Patreon. Also, he's helping with marketing and with my Facebook page. So, Carlos, if you're watching right now, I hope you are. Thank you so much. So you asked, how do tactics and positional considerations relate to each other? And you were mentioning this one game, Kasparov against Karpov, where Karpov used a tactic to achieve a position advantage. And yes, absolutely, they do relate to each other. And actually, the first thing that comes to my mind is Alekhine. Alexander Alekhine was the first world champion who kind of built his tactical skills on positional considerations. So, you know, in the early days, it was all about sacrificing, and people didn't really care about positional chess and all of that. So, can you see the stream? Is the stream running smoothly, by the way, for you guys? I mean, I'm just noticing it's, for me, it's a little bit, there are a few hiccups here and there. So I'm just curious if you can see it smoothly. I hope you can, because, well, it just sucks if it's not smooth. Anyways, coming back to Alekhine. So he was the first one to combine these two. And I think for me, tactics is always the foundation. You need to be good in tactics, because tactics, they're everywhere. They're in the end game, they're in the opening. You always have to consider and calculate short variations. And then you can use tactics to achieve position advantages. So you can combine them. So build your foundation on tactics. That's what you should focus on first in your training. And then you can build on that positional play and combine the two. So great question. And yes, they do very much relate to each other. You always need tactics. It is a bit chubby, says Jeff Jefferson. Okay, let's hope it gets better over time. It's a little jumpy. Bad internet connection. My internet connection is great. I think it's more like my computer, I guess. All right. I do apologize. I hope to improve it soon so that I can run these streams smoothly. I want to get myself a computer. Right now I'm streaming from a laptop, so I want to get myself a computer, so that's better. All right, so I see a lot of questions coming in from the chat, but I first want to get to the questions from the video, and I've prepared something so you guys can actually see the questions. Well, the first one isn't a question, but thank you, Eric Z. Niclas Huschenbeth, the People's GM. Thank you very much for that comment. So let's get to the first question. All right, hold on. So I'm just going to scroll down here. Look at that, it's magic. It's magic. Paul M is asking, I'm interested if you do chess as your main job or if you do something else work-wise. So if I have a job or not. And yes, I do something on the side. I am a student. I just started my master's program last fall. So in October 2016, I started the master program in industrial organizational psychology at the Free University in Berlin. So that's a 2-year program. I just started that. I'm doing this as well. Right now I'm on break though, which, as you have noticed, allows me to put out much more content, do these streams, and do a lot of exciting things like the Patreon thing and other things going on in the background. All right, let's get to the next question. I mean, I think I answered that. I guess another job of mine is really to have this YouTube channels running and all that, and putting out videos and taking care of my Facebook page and all that. I mean, it's not an official job, but I kind of see it like a job because it is a lot of work. All right, let's get to the next question by Ghost XP. And Ghost XP is asking, besides from being one of the top 100 chess players in the world, what other plans do you have for the future? Yeah, I mean, I'm really, I'm seeing the stream and I know it sucks. I don't know what to do about it. I mean, I could restart it and everything, but I don't know if it would get better. So yeah, that's definitely something to work on. Yeah. Kevin, you absolutely have a point here. Well, I don't know what to do about it. Sorry guys, sorry that the stream is lagging. Yeah, I don't know what to do about it. Sorry guys. Okay, let's get to a question of besides Ghost XP, which is a really great question. And I don't have any concrete plans, but I have a lot of like stuff going on that I like to do on the side. Like I'm interested in all kinds of things. Like I started learning Spanish this year and I want to become fluent till the end of the year, which is not going to be easy, but day by day I'm trying to get there with Duolingo, and Anki is a great website for that, for flashcard learning. And also talking to a good friend of mine who is a native speaker. We have like little conversations in German and then Spanish. He wants to learn German, I want to learn Spanish, so that works well. So I do a lot of things, and I think it would go way I would go way off track here by going in all of that. I don't have any concrete plans though. I mean, I would really like to grow my YouTube channel and all that, and to reach more people with my videos. I mean, that is definitely one of my big goals, but I haven't really make it very concrete, like how many subscribers I want to reach or how many people I want to reach and all of that. So my biggest goal right now definitely is to become one of the top 100 chess players, and then the other things are all like side things. All right, let's get to the next question. Here we have it. Who's your favorite player and why? Ooh, that's a good one. And my rating is now 1640. And I have lots of time for chess. How to improve my game, and also any book recommendations for any 1640 Elo FIDE rated player. So let's get to the first question. First, who's your favorite player and why? I'm struggling with this question. My favorite player and why? I don't have any favorites, honestly. I like them all. I mean, of course, there are some players more exciting to watch than others, but it's not like I have this one player that I always follow who's my big idol. I know back in the day it was Anand, because he was just... I liked him very much as a person and as a player, so universal, and I still like him. But it's not like he's my favorite player of them all, so... can't really say anything about that. I just follow the top tournaments and enjoy the high level games. That's all. So now coming to the second question. And guys, it's great that you're asking so many questions in the chat, but first let me get to these questions. I know we have a lot to cover here, so let me get to those questions in the video first of the important announcements where I announced the live stream, and then I'll get to questions in the chat. All right, so let's get to the second question. I have lots of time for chess. How to improve my game? Also, any book recommendations for any 1640 ELO FIDE rated player? All right. So in general, I recommend to everybody pretty much below 2000 rating, I recommend to do as many tactics and calculation exercises as you can. Now, talking of tactic books doesn't really matter what you get as long as you really solve a lot of tactics. And actually I meant to do this for a long time, to like compile a list of books that I recommend and books on tactics, positional play, endgame, and so on. But I haven't gotten a chance to do this yet. So as of now, I'm sorry, I cannot give you any specific recommendations. But what I can tell you is focus most of your time on tactics and calculation, and then the other time on learning about chess, like positional understanding. And for that, I can recommend something. The Great Predecessors by Kasparov is a great resource just to get the chess history. And I think that's important to learn about the chess history and all the different world champions. And also Kasparov is a great author. So those are great books. And books by Duretsky, obviously. And also for positional play, actually, I really recommend the books by Johan Helsten. He has this 3-part series, and they're all called pretty much the same. It's Mastering Opening Strategy, Mastering Middle Game Strategy, and Mastering Endgame Strategy. And he has really cut it down very nicely. And those are good books, I think, also for your rating level. I mean, I'm not exactly sure, maybe they might be a little bit too difficult, I'm not sure, but those are great resources. All right, so I hope that was helpful, Harshal Patil, and let's get to the next question. Literally blown. Okay, that's not a question. I'm a beginner. What books? So Dhananjay Naikwadi is asking, I'm a beginner chess learner. What books do you recommend to learn from my purchase winning chess series by Yasser? Bobby Fischer teaches chess, and Bandolfin's Ultimate Guide to Chess. What do you think? Is it enough for any recommendations? Well, I was just talking about it pretty much. I mean, this sounds like a good start for me, the 3 books you're mentioning, even though I don't know the last one, but I'm sure it's a well-known book. So I think that's a good start. And then learning about chess history, and also books by John Nunn are a great resource. He has some beginner books definitely, but I can't really think of them right now. And yeah, that should get you covered. But it's true, I absolutely need to get to researching a little bit what are some good books for beginners, because I don't know, if I remember back in the day, I worked with some opening books, and then I got just a lot of exercise and material from my coach, and I don't remember too many books, or rather they were in German, so I don't remember what they were called in English. I remember more of the advanced books, like books I'm working with right now, but this is not too helpful for you. So well, can't say much more about that, but I think you already have some good pointers there. All right. Love your channel. Love your channels on chess. Well, thank you very much. Wow97. Would you ever do a video with Hutch again? Did you enjoy it when you did? Yes, that was a lot of fun. Hutch is a cool guy. For those of you who don't know, Hutch is a famous YouTuber. He has over 900k subscribers, 900,000 subscribers. So, and he plays chess, which is unusual, because usually these big YouTubers, they don't do that. So Hold on, I'm just gonna try to close some more stuff here. Maybe I have too many processes going on in the background, but I don't know what else to close. What else can I close? Sophos protection. That's my virus protection. I can't close that. Asus live update. I definitely don't need that right now. Asus USB charger. Well, I don't know if that helped, but I'm trying. Okay, so yes, I would do it again, and especially my friend Talbot Rowan, he did 2 streams with him right now, and actually I connected the 2, and I'm very happy how this turned out, that they're doing streams, because Hutch hadn't done anything chess related for a long time, but now it seems he's getting back into it, and he's doing more collaborations with Eric Hansen, and maybe hopefully also with John Bartholomew, so that's great, and we might do something again. I don't know when, but I would definitely be up for it, and I'm pretty sure he would be too. So let's get to the next question. I'm 22 years old after focusing on it. Okay, this is a question by, let me get this in here. Bharadvaj Ralabandi, sorry for the mispronunciation there. I'm 22 years old. After focusing only on chess for 2 months, I'm able to take down an 1800 player. Used to struggle previously against 1500s. Can I become a GM if I dedicate myself to chess? I'm willing to do whatever it takes. Well, that's great. And yes, you can do that. You can become a GM, but you really have to think if it's worth your time and effort at this point. You're 22 years old. I don't know what you're doing right now. Maybe you're studying, maybe you're already working, and you don't have as much time available to yourself anymore as you had when you were younger, when there was just like school and no work or less homework, I guess, and just much more time at your hands. And you just have to realize that becoming a GM, I mean, it really takes a lot of time and effort. You know, you probably heard about this 10,000 hour rule. It takes 10,000 hours to become an expert, and in chess that would be a grandmaster. I think it absolutely applies. I mean, I don't know how many hours I put in, but we're certainly a lot. So it's really, you really have to decide for yourself if that is something you really absolutely want, because it will take a lot of time, effort, and also money. You need to go to tournaments, travel to tournaments, and of course a coach would help, which costs money, and also the opportunity cost, right? If you are spending so much time playing chess, then you have less time earning money. So I don't know what your situation is. If you have the time and you have the ambition and everything, then yes, I absolutely think you can do it, but just realize it is a lot harder than if you had started much earlier. All right, I think that's it. Those are all the questions from the video. So now I can get to the questions in the chat. So let's see if I can do this somehow smartly, that we can kind of see the questions, all of us together. Pop-up chat. All right. Maybe this is smart. So just give me a second and I'll drink something. That was good. All right, so let's bring the chat in here, shall we? So there we have the chat. Huh. Okay, I think I have to sidestep a little bit. And okay. Right now it's a black box, but we'll change that. We'll change that in a moment. And magic, there we go. Oh, it's a little bit small, isn't it? Or can you guys see this? Can you guys see this? Just give me a quick feedback. Yeah, I guess that could work. I guess that could work. I like it. I think that's fine. All right. So, where should I start? I think. All right. I don't know where to start. I mean, I'm overwhelmed here. So I'm just gonna scroll up. and see if I can just go through them quickly. Dum ba dum ba dum ba dum. I want to know how I can improve my skills in chess. We have talked a lot about this a little bit already. Focus on tactics and focus on the foundations, that is, understand a little bit about chess, where to put your pieces, learn about openings, a little bit golden rules, but don't focus too much time on openings. Openings are hugely overestimated, so focus mostly on tactics, calculation, tactical motives, and that stuff. And that will get you the biggest gains in the beginning. I mean, that will just take you much further in the beginning, and then you can fine tune all the other areas. Can we become a patron and submit a question? You can become a patron, submit a question, but I'm gonna answer your question right now anyway, so you don't have to do that. But you would get all the other perks of becoming a patron if you want to check that out. There's a link in the description. Greetings from Argentina, greetings back. So, where are the question? Is there any positional chess drill or games that will improve positional play? Positional chess drill, great question. I have a series on Chess 24 regarding positional sacrifices. That is kind of going in a direction, but it's a specific topic. And it was also a topic of my patron coachings in the past. So in the past I was holding 1 hour patron coachings where I would also pick a very specific topic, and that's also what I went over there. But in general, I can refer back to the books I mentioned earlier by Johan Helston. Mastering Milligan Strategy might be a good start for you. It has a lot of exercise, and that's what I like about this book. What was your best game ever? Well, that's a good question, because recently I played my Immortal game, and that was a great game. So you can check that out on my YouTube channel. But I don't know if it was my best game. I also published my perfect game. Maybe that would be my best game. I don't know. There are many candidates. I have a series on YouTube. It's called My Best Games. And there I have put together, I think, 4 games, which are my favorites. So you can check that out. Just search My Best Game, Niclas on YouTube. That should get you there, hopefully. Okay, I want to know how I can improve my chess skills. I think that's that we just had that. This question we also already had. I need to go now by question. 1 player from the past that you would love to play against. Ooh, great question. Bobby Fischer would be my first pick. Or Mial Tal, maybe. Yeah, those 2. Niclas, have you ever been to Schulschachmeisterschaften? So this is like school championships when you were younger. Yes, I have. We actually won once. I don't know when. 10 years ago. No, longer probably. We won 1 category with my school in the school chess championships. All right. Thanks for the encouragement here, guys, and I'm glad to see Kevin in the chat, who I analyzed the game of yesterday. You can check that out. It's on my channel, Cold-Blooded Calculation, I called it. Kevin, if you have a better title, I like the title, because in the end you had this cold-blooded calculation where you just out-calculate your opponent. So I like that title, but if you want to suggest another one, you can. Let me know. Niclas, glad to see you doing big things. Well, thank you very much for support. Tintin on the go. Okay, we already covered that. I said Fischer. Are you part of the German cadre? No, not yet. I was in the past, but then I went to US and I left the cadre, but I'm gonna try. So that's the German, I don't know, being part of the German, I don't even know how it's translated, German squad. So getting into a national team, I mean, this is kind of what it's about. So I'm gonna try to do that. Jorge 1982 is asking, why am I not in your Patreon list? I'm not quite sure what you're referring to here. So which Patreon list? There's a list in the video description of my supporters, but this is only listing the people who are pledging on a knight level or more. So I don't know right now who you are, Jorge 1982. So can't tell you. Or if you're referring to another list, I don't know. Next question. How can I get my friends to get better at chess? Why do you want your friends to get better at chess? That is an interesting question. You know, the biggest part of this is that they want to get better at chess, and then you can help them out. I mean, that would be the first step, but then you can, I don't know, recommend them books, resources, videos like mine. Many ways, obviously. All right, let's keep going. Last week you posted a video about your first dragon and a critical point in the game you made a mistake and gave up the win. What will you do to prevent that from happening? Yeah, that is a great question. And I sat down after this tournament. I recommend this to do this for everybody to do this. I sat down right after the tournament. I went through every game and looked at every mistake I made and tried to figure out why I made these mistakes. And I saw a few patterns. And very often it was just I'm missing opponents' moves. I'm missing my own moves. But most of the opponents' moves, I mean, that was just, I was lucky in many games because I missed the move, but fortunately it didn't hurt me too much. But with that one, that was more about being lazy in calculation, trying to be too safe. There were many components to that. So yes, what I will do, I will look at that list before every game and keep it in my head and try to avoid these mistakes in the future. Of course, mistakes will always creep up, but you just want to minimize them as much as possible. All right, next question by JM43 Time, who is one of my supporters on Patreon. So glad to see you here in the chat. What rank are you worldwide? I'm ranked number 315 right now. Harsha Patil is asking, didn't I just answer a question by you in the other video? I think I did. Glad to see you here. Did playing Blitz online really decrease our classical game? I'm not quite sure what you mean, but if you mean that playing Blitz decreases your skills in classical games, I don't think so. I mean, I heard the case that playing bullet games is not really beneficial for playing chess because you don't really think, you just make moves. At Blitz, I don't think so. I mean, if you phrase it differently, if you phrase it the way saying, how much is Blitz playing helping us to increase our skills in classical game, then that would be, I think, a more interesting question, because then I might say maybe not that much. For me, Blitz is mostly for fun and for trying out my openings and see how I feel with my openings. But the problem is that you cannot control what your opponent is going to play. So you cannot practice specific openings. On the other hand, you can find out where you maybe have problems and do that. But I think that playing Blitz should be mostly for entertainment, and it's not really a great way to improve your classical chess game skills. Okay, I answered this question. How can I get my clubmates to improve? I think I answered this question already. Yes, you can teach them. Just teach them whatever you know. Are you sick? No, I'm not. What is your first rating? How was you improve after getting rating? My first ELO rating was 2070, I think, but I was a little bit overrated and it took me a while to improve. Usually what happened in my rating curve that I always took like jumps, bigger jumps. And I think it's very common to take like big rating jumps. So I remember, for example, I went from 2318 to 2450, so 120 points. But then I dropped down again because I was overrated. And now I've just gained 50 points. So I hope I will not hit a plateau. So I want to keep going, and not 50 points, 40 points. So yeah, so this is not unusual. I mean, just as a general thing, if you see yourself stagnating, then just realize that is common, and it might happen that at some point you make a big leap again. All right, I need to drink something. I mean, all this talking is making my mouth dry. So, let me ask you something spicy. Have you ever been asked for an autograph? That's a spicy question, really? Yes, I've been asked for many autographs, and I don't think that question is spicy. Is it still relevant for GM of today to study games from longer time ago? Yes, I think so. It makes a lot of sense to know the chess history, and I can't really give you a concrete reason, but just as your general chess culture, I think it's very relevant and helpful, and to know the classics and see how chess developed over years. I think it's also very interesting, so I really recommend you to study that. And I know, for example, Magnus Carlsen, he knows all the classics and he has learned a lot from the old masters. And, you know, some things haven't changed. I mean, opening theory has changed and the whole approach with computers and all that. But positional chess, you know, Capablanca, Ayekin, and all the masters that followed, they already knew a lot about that. So you can learn from them, certainly. What do you think about ratings? Larsen said ratings would kill chess. Yes, that's a great question and also a great quote. Yeah, ratings are... I think ratings are a problem in the sense that they distract us from why we play chess in the first place. And I think for all of us that's the same thing. We play chess because we love playing chess. It's fun. There's a competition. Of course, it's also very much fun to win. But what happened with ratings is that we have our focus on something else. Now it's not about enjoying the game, enjoying the process, enjoying the competition, but it's about, oh, will I lose rating? Will I win rating? I almost want to say, dude, rating. I think I shouldn't say that on air. But don't worry about your rating. What you should, no, you shouldn't do anything. Don't use should. That's what I learned as a psychologist or a psychology major. Don't use should if you can avoid it. But what I recommend you to focus on is on just enjoying the game, having fun with it, and not caring about the rating. Because what I like to say, if you have the strength, the rating will come by itself. And if you are too worried about rating, it will definitely hinder your game. Of course, we need it. And I think it's very helpful to see where everybody is at and so on, but there has been too much of an overemphasis on rating, and I'm not a fan of that. All right. How many chess books have you studied during your chess career? Exactly 61. No, just kidding. I don't know. I mean, a lot. But recently not too many anymore. I don't know why, but I have read a lot of chess books though. I would say between 50 and 100. Maybe that's too low. I really don't know. I really don't know. Why have you become a big sellout? What is a sellout? A sellout is somebody who's selling himself for money, right? I think this is kind of going in the direction of the Patreon thing. Well, I think you can argue about if I have become a big sellout. I mean, all of my videos are still for free and will always be for free on YouTube. And for those who want to support me, they can. If you don't want to, then that's fine. So that's absolutely up to you. So I think I'm not agreeing with the way this question is phrased, dear Patrick Mulcahy. What's the name of the lady on the t-shirt? Great question, and I don't have an answer to that. Colin Cohn. Colin has been one of my subscribers for a long time. Glad to see you here, Colin. Hi, Niclas. How much time did you invest in chess before your goal, and how much time will you invest now? Honestly, I didn't spend much time on chess before, and I always did some openings on the side, but apart from that, I was just following tournaments and and not doing too much really, maybe doing some tactics on the app here and there, but not going overboard. So now obviously I need to change that, and I'm already changing that. So I will spend much more time. I'm still in the setup process, and there are a few things going on in the background that, well, I don't really want to go into right now, where I'm preparing everything and I'm collaborating a lot with other people. So right now I'm spending a lot of time on that to set everything up. And then once this is done, I will have much more time to spend on my chess training. But it's true, I need to set up a schedule and figure out what I'm exactly focusing on. Kevin is asking, what is your next chess tournament? That is an easy one. That's the Bangkok Chess Open, and actually you should know that as one of my patrons, because it is on my page, but I guess it's already gone maybe, because we have reached the goal to support me for the tournament, and that is in April. It's the Bangkok Chess Club Open in Thailand. It is quite strong. There are a few 2,700 players like Wang Hao, Vallejo Pons, Nigel Short is going to be there, Jan Gustafsson, and a number of other really good grandmasters. And what I can actually mention here is that I have already 2 interviews confirmed. So I will interview 2 grandmasters from the tournament, and my patrons can suggest questions on the patron feed for these interviews. I'll post something about that later on, but that's something I'm really excited about, because I don't see many interviews, or long interviews at least, of grandmasters on the web or on YouTube, and I think that's missing. I mean, we want to, I can share the books that I've read and the tips that I can give you to improve your chess, but I would say let's also get their tips, and I mean they're on a higher level even, and they might also have some very useful tips. So I'm going to try to get them from them. So yes, in 1 month, a little less than a month, is going to be my next tournament. Question: any tips on learning how to play blindfold chess? What were some beginning exercise and training you used to get better at it when you were younger? I didn't train it specifically. I mean, it just happens naturally once you calculate a lot and play a lot of chess. So that just happens naturally. But there's a website with blindfold exercise. Maybe if you just Google blindfold exercises, you can find it. And what happens, it gives you the first opening moves, and then after 5 moves, after 6 moves, 7 moves, and so on, it gets harder and harder. You're asked to find the right move, because then there's like some winning move, right? So it's like opening traps and all that, I found it quite useful. So that's a great tool. Then you can play around with playing blitz online, blindfold, or maybe only seeing your pieces or only your opponent's piece. Just play around with all these tools if you want to improve that. And I think it's a great tool to improve visualization, so I definitely recommend that. And I commend you on wanting to train that. All right, next question. How do you develop patience when analyzing a critical game in a tournament, critical position in a tournament game? Not quite sure if I understand this question, honestly. Patience. Well, I just want to get to the truth of the position. I just want to figure it out. I mean, sometimes it takes a long time. It might be frustrating because I don't really know what I'm going to play, and there are a lot of variations to calculate, but I just gotta keep going. So I'm not quite sure if I understand this question. I don't need any patience. I'm just going to sit there, analyze the heck out of the position, and then play my move. Yes, it takes some mental stamina to do this, but it's just something you need to train over time. How important is physical fitness for a top chess player? I think it's very important, and I mean, put aside, exercise is so important on so many levels. I mean, not just for playing chess, but on every single level, be it your physical ability, be it your mental ability. I mean, it has so many benefits. So exercise, absolutely. I was just mentioning at the beginning of the stream, I'm just coming from a workout, and that's why I pushed back the stream by half an hour, because I want to get my workout in. So key for everybody, please exercise. It's so crucial. What do you think is the biggest difference between a player with 1800 ELO and a player with around 2000, 2100? I mean, I don't think there's any general thing I can say here. That could be a number of things. It really depends. I mean, it could be every area. It could be one specific area. I think that the higher you go, the more important openings become. So that might be one factor. But then really, I think you can get so far by tactics and calculation. So that could be another factor. Really, it could be anything. So can't really say much about that. Lechert Thomas is asking a great question. Why did you decide to have this goal just now? So I was stagnating around 2530 and 2548, exactly 2548, for the last 4 years while I was studying in the US. And then I came back to Germany and I played in the Bundesliga. Well, yeah, I played in the Bundesliga. And then I played a tournament in Suriname in South America. And then I played a tournament in Hamburg, and I was just on a roll. And I have won now 40 ELO points within 4 months, pretty much. And I was like, okay, well, I think I can go much higher here, because I just need to keep playing on this level that I have been playing the last 3-4 tournaments. And I will reach 2610, 2620 already, just by maintaining that level, which is not easy, of course. But so that's why I was saying, okay, if I'm already playing at the level of 2610, 2620 consistently over, by now, I don't know, 40 games, then why not try to go even higher and set this goal of top 100? Because 2610 or going 2620, that's also, it wouldn't be easy, but to me it would not have been ambitious enough. When will you have the rematch against Magnus H10? Navid Sheikh. The Play Magnus videos are coming out every Thursday at 6 p.m. German time, so Central European time. So they are coming out every Thursday. That's just consistently every video I'm putting this, every week I'm putting this out. So just be patient. In a few days there will be a new episode. Peter Sprungala is asking, we're going to NOW Championship finals with our school. I'm playing on board 4 and I know my opponents are lower rated than I am. How would you try to prepare for it? Yeah, that's a great question. How do you play against lower rated opponents? And I mean, usually my advice is play against everybody like you don't know their rating. Just try to play the objectively best moves. But I know it's difficult. It's always in the back of our minds that we need to win, because otherwise we're going to lose rating. There we have the rating issue again, and all that. So I would just, when you prepare your openings, go for lines that are more complex and that are not simple, and where your opponents have better chance to go wrong. But don't take super big risks. It's not, most of the time it's not worth it. I mean, it can pay off, but if you lose, the risk reward ratio is not good if you take too high risks and you could possibly lose. Then rather go for a draw. I mean, a draw every once in a while against a lower rated opponent, it's not a big issue, right? The losses, they really cost you. They really hurt. So that's my advice on that. Fabrice, glad to see you, Fabrice, here in the chat. Fabrice is supporting me and helping me with Facebook, and awesome to see you here. Hi Niclas, if chess is getting solved one day like checkers, do you think it's a draw or white win? It's going to be a draw. That is for sure. I mean, chess is a draw. If both sides play perfect, then it's a draw. I mean, we see it in most computer games, we see it in most top-level chess games. Most of them end in a draw. So if it is getting solved one day, which I don't hope, then it would be a draw. Is there anything that chess helps you to get good at other than chess? Are there some things at which good chess players tend to be good at? Languages, for example. I haven't noticed any particular benefits with languages. But I would say about strategizing and planning ahead. I love to plan ahead. I love to plan my next steps and all that. And I think chess has helped me there. But apart from that, I think also maybe concentration, staying focused, because that's what you need to do in chess. Of course, you can always take breaks when it's your opponent's move, but you need to be focusing on one thing, one game for a few hours at a time. And that's not something that you do with a lot of other things. Usually you always have distractions and so on. And I think that's what helped me with to improve my concentration, my focus. When you analyze your games, how do you do that? Okay, usually after a game, I don't have much time because I have to prepare for the next game. So I just quickly go over with it with the computer and I compare how what I calculate during the game lines up with the computer evaluation. So I want to see if I missed anything. And I also want to see, and that's very important, I think, if my evaluations match the computer's evaluations. So if I thought, oh, this is a little bit better for white, is the computer saying something like that, or is he saying something else? And then why is he saying something else? Or what did I miss here? So I'm really focusing on what I was missing and just comparing my notes, really, that I had during the game. Because there's so much I look at which never happens in the game, obviously, and then I want to see if all that was more or less correct. So that's a great question, definitely. And then, like I said, after the tournament, I go over the games again and I look at the patterns of mistakes and why I made them and how I can avoid them in the future. What type of chess would you recommend for beginners? Rapid Blitz, Bullet, or daily chess? I don't know what daily chess, but maybe you mean classical chess or daily chess. Is that like where you can take days to make a move? I don't know. But in general, the longer the time control, the better, because you just get more out of it. Blitz, like I said, or Bullet, really it's just entertainment. It's not, you don't have a huge training effect, but the more you need to really get into a position, calculate, the more you get out of it. So the best training is classical games, is long games, and then rapid and so on. So yeah, what type of chess would you recommend? Play as many tournaments as you can. There's no better practice than playing tournaments. So that's what I'd recommend. Join a club, play in the league, get as many classical games in as possible. Hello, I feel I'm not improving as fast as before. Do you have any tip? Well, that's natural. As with anything you learn, in the beginning you can make the biggest gains, the biggest leaps, and then it gets more difficult and more difficult, and the higher you get, the more difficult it becomes. So like I said earlier, sometimes you hit a plateau and then you take another leap. That happens. But then I would just see what's going on, where you make mistakes, and work on these areas. And most of the time, I'm just guessing it's going to be tactics. So keep working on that. Solve half an hour of tactics every day. Do some calculation exercise. Solve studies. They're great for calculating, and that should hopefully help you. What is a typical day of study training is like for you? Alright, so right now I don't have this set up yet. Like I said, I'm working on collaborating with people and pulling and bringing people together. And I have done a lot of work on my YouTube channel and setting all of that up. And now I'm preparing to travel to Thailand. So I haven't set it up yet. But what I imagine is having a few sessions of going over openings a day, because I think that could be really a key for me getting to a top 100. So maybe in the morning going over openings and memorizing openings, and also in the evening. And then also I'm heavily going to do calculation exercises. I mean, that's just going to be my main training focus. And then the rest, it's going to be less. Maybe a little bit of endgame here and there. Maybe a little bit of positional chess, but really solving a lot of exercise. I have this book I have 2 books actually, or many books by Jacob Argard, Grandmaster Preparation, and I'm going to work through them. And there's strategy, there's positional. I think I've worked through the positional Grandmaster Preparation already. And then there's also endgame strategy or something like that. And they're great exercises, and I'm going to work through them. But I haven't set this up yet. Will you play Live Blitz again? Yes, I will. I don't know when. But for example, when we hit the next goal on Patreon, I will play... Oh, hold on. No, I'll play a Simul then, I think. But I'm sure I'll do it soon. It's just, I always have to see how I do it, because Live Blitz, yeah, it's fun and everything, but then again, it takes time away from me studying and getting closer to my goal. But yeah, absolutely, I'll do this again. Sure, it's a lot of fun. Who was the strongest opponent you played against? I feel like I'm almost catching up with the questions, but there's so many questions. All right, and we have like 10 more minutes. The strongest opponent I played against was Shahryar Mamcharov. Not rating-wise. Well, he was the strongest rating-wise. I've also played against Fabiano Caruana and Wesley So twice, but at the point they weren't the best rating-wise. Yeah. No, Shahryar, he was like number 11 when I played against him, so he was the strongest. And if you wonder, I lost. How many times do you spend in training chess every day? Well, we just had a similar question, so I'll just skip over that. Do you think to achieve your dream you need hard work or concentration? Well, probably both. I definitely think you need hard work. You need to put in the hours. There is no easy way. I mean, if people are telling you, oh, become a grandmaster in whatever, I don't know, 7 weeks or so, it's, of course, it's nonsense. You need to put in the time, you need to put in the effort, and be dedicated to your goal. This is a random question. How tall are you? I'm 6'3", or 191 centimeters. How much EQ do you have? I don't know, and I don't really care. Madonna's in the shirt? I don't think so. This is not Madonna. Do you also play sometimes 960 variation of chess? No, I don't. If no, why? I don't know. I like chess enough. I don't need any alternative chess. The benefits that I see is that you do a lot of calculation. You need to think from move 1, whereas in normal chess starting position, the first moves are kind of automatic. But there you have to think about, and it allows you to be creative, and that's really great. I think it's fostering creativity. When I reach a winning position, I struggle to convert it. Example, when my opponent lashes out once I reach a good position, it becomes hard for me to control the complications. How to improve this? Yes, that's a great question. Winning 1 positions, it's very difficult. There's a saying, nothing more difficult than to win a 1 position. Yeah, you just have to check for the counterplay that you allow your opponent. Sometimes you need to allow counterplay, sometimes you don't. And sometimes you shouldn't avoid complications because maybe that's the best way and you need to enter them. So I think it's a lot about maybe time management, making sure you keep enough time to convert, because that can be such a killer. You can throw away so many good positions if you lack time. And then the other thing is coming back to tactics and being ready for complications, feeling comfortable, calculating and going into calculations, because you know you will be able to see everything that you need to see. I saw you game 2 game against Magnus 10. Why did you lose? Great question. I can tell you why I lost. I didn't play well, so I hope to do better next time. Will there be any game today? I'm not sure what game you're referring to. No, I'm not going to cover any game. That was yesterday. This is just a question and answer session. How important is it for you to beat Jan Gustafsson in Bangkok Open and break his ego? That is not important to me at all. I've actually beaten Jan before, and that was a really great game of mine, if I may say so. One of my best games I've ever played, even though it was hugely due to opening preparation, which I have to say made it so much more sweet to win in that fashion against one of the biggest opening experts in the world. But I don't care about beating Jan in Bangkok Open. I just want to play a good tournament, enjoy Thailand, enjoy being there, and that's all. Who knows if we'll even play against each other. What opening should I learn as black? I'm new to a game rated 950. I'm comfortable with white, but I have no clue when defending with black. That is, I could talk so much about. Actually, I want to do like a quick course on how to pick the right openings, but I haven't gotten a chance to do this yet. So it really depends on your style. You need to figure out what you like. Are you more of a sharp player? Are you more of a positional player? And then dependent on that, you can choose your opening. I can't say much more right now. It's too much of a general question. For 13 to 1600 player, beside tactics and playing games, what part of the game would you recommend to study, strategy, endgame, and opening? Strategy, I would say. Positional understanding. So much you can do about understanding. The opening, we all love to study the opening because it's easy. But after the opening, there's still a whole game to play. There's the middle game, there's the end game. And for the end game, you need a lot of calculation. Of course, you also need to know some rules of thumb, but it's a lot of calculation. But then also the middle game is so much about understanding. So I think the strategy, that's what I would focus on besides tactics, which should be the main part of your training regimen. Question, will you do live games on chess sites where you explain your methods? I think that would be very interesting and fun to watch. Live games on chess sites. I don't know exactly what you refer to with live games, but what I'm thinking about, for example, is doing live stream where I train and you can train alongside with me. I'm not sure how interesting that is for people, but this is something I'm thinking about. Playing live games on chess websites. I don't quite know if I'll do that. Maybe you refer to longer time control games. Maybe we'll see in the future. What tactical book you most recommend? Like I said, I recommend the books by Jacob Argard, Grandmaster Preparation. I recommend Perfect Your Chess by Volokitin. It's a book I really like. Then by Doretsky, University of Game Analysis. No, what is it called? Something like that. Analysis. Something with analysis. It's a great book. But there are really many out there. I mean, I don't think you can really go wrong as long as you keep working on that. I'm 12 years old and have ELO 728 in Blitz. Is that bad? I don't care about the Blitz rating, whatever. It's just for fun. Don't care about the rating. Care about whether you enjoy the game and have fun playing. So that's all. As an amateur player, how do you suggest to structure your training to improve? Eric Winter. Eric has been one of my subscribers since the very beginning, I think. So happy to see you here, Eric. And regarding your question, how do you suggest to structure your training to improve? It depends how much time you have. So if you only have half an hour that you want to dedicate to chess, then invest it into tactics. If you have more time, then you can also, of course, depending on where you stand with your level, you can look at openings a little bit or watch videos and so on. So it depends on how much time you have, but really, I think for everybody below 2000, 70% of the training, or maybe 80%, should go into tactics and calculation. And you can differentiate. There are tactics like the ones that you do in a tactic training, and then they're more like heavy calculation exercise where you really have to dive into a position. And for those, like, studies are good, composed studies, and certain books also have great exercise for that, because usually these tactics, what is a little bit problematic about them, that they're very clear cut. And yes, that's nice, but usually in your games it's not that clear cut. Your opponent has all these different options and you need to calculate in all kind of different directions. So these more difficult calculation exercises are better. yes, this is going to be uploaded right after this. This is going to be online after we are done here, and I think we're going to be done in a moment. It's exactly 1 hour now, so I'm going to go through the questions up to Eric Winter, and then we are finished. How far do you think you'll get on the Play Magnus app? That's really a good question. I mean, I don't know. We'll just find out. But probably at some point I need to say, okay, a draw is enough for me to succeed to the next level, where I just can't beat him anymore, and say, okay, a draw is a decent result here, and I think I can go to the next level. Hey Niclas, great question, a great idea with the question answer here. What are you doing to balance yourself, because studying and reaching a top 100 is very time intensive and exhausting. Yes, like I said, I love to do sports, and I also learn Spanish, and I have a few other things going on. So yes, very, very good point. Of course, there needs to be a balance. And it's not like I'm doing chess 24/7. I mean, I have so many things going on. So, yeah, don't worry. I'm doing well. Where do you live? In Berlin. What do you do for a living? What do I do for a living? I'm doing fine right now with being a student. You know, it's fine. I earn some money here and there through chess, and I'm doing well. How to improve positional chess? I've talked about this already. Get one of the Johan Helsten books, Positional Mastering Middle Game Strategy, for example. And that would help you. Have you done any work with Dvoretsky's material? Yeah, like I said, the Dvoretsky Endgame. I've read many of Dvoretsky's books actually, but the Dvoretsky Endgame Manual is a classic, and then there's also, I know what it's called. It's the Dvoretsky Analytical Manual, and this is such a great book. Such a great book. And yes, I've also worked a lot with Yusupov's books, and I've also worked with him as a coach. Well, not often though. I mean, maybe there was like a training seminar or something like that. Yeah, Dvoretsky's material is great. The Analytical Manual is a great book. Hi, I'm your big fan. Thank you. Would you ever come to India to play tournaments like Daewoo Open and Chennai Open? No plan to play. Well, it really has to be an attractive Open. I've played in Chennai once, but it's just far away. So it really needs to be an attractive Open for me to go there and play. But we'll see. Wow, you're tall. Also, your stream is pretty choppy. Yes, I'm sorry about that. Hope to improve that later. How much do you lift? I don't know. I haven't been to a gym in a while. I'm doing Krav Maga now and doing high intensity interval training, and not doing to a gym right now. What do you think about the Scotch? Interesting opening. Definitely gives you some original positions that you don't get in any other opening. So, especially in the lines with Knight f6. So, yeah, you can absolutely play it. You look kind of drunk today. Thank you very much, sir. How to practice endgames when without an opponent. I really love the video series by Carsten Müller, who is a renowned expert on endgames. So I can recommend you that, the DVD series. And other than that, the endgame manual by Dvoretsky is great. And they're great. There are many great endgame books, really. But yeah, those are some resources. When did you start playing chess? When I was 4 years old, so 20 years ago. Well, 21 by now. Wow. All right, guys, that's it. This stream has gone on for an hour. I appreciate all your questions. I'm actually overwhelmed. I wasn't expecting so many questions. So I hope that was helpful, and I hope I could answer some of your questions. And I will soon hopefully get this resource list together where I put like all the different books and DVDs on the different chess areas like endgame, tactics, strategy, and so on. So I will get this together hopefully soon. so that it's not like every time then I can just say, yeah, just refer to a list in the description and so on. So, and I do apologize for the choppiness in the stream. Hope it's going to be better next time. Like I said, I'm going to get myself a computer soon, which has a better CPU and whatever, so the streams will go more smoothly. All right, thank you guys for watching, and then I'll see you again very soon. Bye bye. Oh, make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet. I talked to one guy from marketing, and he told me I need to say this every time at the end of the video, so now I did.